Hello and welcome to another Magic the Gathering unboxing. This time round we've got the new Avacyn Restored event deck. This is the mono black event deck, Death's Encroach. So just looking at the stuff on the back here, this is basically a black zombies deck. So let's open this up and see what goodies we have inside this. So for those of you that haven't seen an event deck before, this contains a 60 card deck and a sideboard and also a spin down counter, and how to play the deck is in there as well. These are basically designed, I suppose, with Friday Night Magic in mind. So you can sort of go along to an F&M and stand a good chance of at least sort of competing reasonably well. So obviously these are going to perform better than, say, an intro deck. And then of course these can be tweaked to improve their performance. Okay, so inside the box, like I said, you've got the 60 card main deck, 15 card sideboard. They also stick in one of these divider cards because you can sort of use this as a deck storage box. There's the actual Death's Encroach instruction sheet, which goes through the card list and also how to play the deck. And then there's a bit about tournaments and events on the back, so just describing sort of what to expect, and a bit about formats and tips for a successful event. And then obviously the other insert in here is your standard how to play guide. There's our spin down counter, so we've got a sort of black grey mottled one this time round. And somewhere on here, and I can never find it with these. We'll look, oh, there we go. So there's the Avacyn Restored logo. Okay, so let's have a look at the main deck, see what we've got here. So it's going to be interesting with this deck to see how it deals with sort of zombie tribal and the flavour. So I know that Wizards have worked hard on this block to try and get the flavour of zombies right. So because this is an event deck, what we're going to see is a lot less sort of variance in the deck. So there'll be a lot more multiple copies of things generally. So first up we have Digraph Ghoul, which is an uncommon. That's from Innistrad. And there are 3 of those, so a full complement of Digraph Ghouls. Enters the battlefield tapped. It's 1 black for a 2/2. So obviously being a 1 black for 2/2, it's going to be ahead of the curve, but on the downside it's entering the battlefield tapped, so you're not going to be able to do anything with this until your next untap phase, or if you were doing something clever with a card that could untap it. Gravecrawler, this is a rare, 1 black for a 2/1. It can't block. You may cast Gravecrawler from your graveyard as long as you control a zombie. And there's just one of those. We've got Crypt Keeper, 1 and a black for a 2/1. This is a common, has a useful ability on it in that it allows you to get rid of something in a graveyard. So very useful for removing threats where your opponent's up to sort of graveyard shenanigans. And there are 2 of those. We've got a Gloom Surgeon in here, 1 and a black for a 2/1. This one, I just got to check these because it's difficult on the colours to see these sometimes. Yeah, that's a rare. And just one of those. Highborn Ghoul. This has Intimidate on it. It's a 2/1 for 2 black, common. And there are 4 of those, another full complement. We've got a Cemetery Reaper in here, which is a rare from M12. 2/2 for 1 and 2 black. But it gives other zombie creatures you control +1/+1, and you can use it to exile a target creature from a graveyard and then put a 2/2 black zombie creature token into play. Got a Ghoul Raiser. This is a common from Innistrad, and there are, I think we got 3 of those. Geralf's Messenger, another rare. Here, 3/2 for 3 black. Just one of those. Got Skin Render. This is from Skulls of Mirrodin. 2 and 2 black for a 3/3, and when it enters the battlefield, you can put 3 -1/-1 counters on a target creature. Very useful card. It's uncommon, and not surprisingly, there's a full set of those. Then we move on to the mana base. So, not surprisingly, it's going to be all swamps in this deck. Just have a quick look at the count on that. So there's 24 swamps in there. And so we're looking at the sort of Avacyn here artwork. Not surprisingly, because it's an Avacyn Restored Event deck. So I should imagine in a moment we have, after this, the various support package with removal and a few other things. So we have a Despise in the deck. So this is from New Phyrexia. So what this will do is get your opponent to reveal their hand, and you can choose a creature or a planeswalker card from it, and that player discards the card. So you've got hand disruption in there, and there's actually 3 of those in the deck, so very useful. It costs 1 to play, so that's really useful because some of these creature cards are going to be a bit slow, so it's good to have something early on to just keep your opponent occupied. Altar's Reap, 1 and a black. This is from Innistrad's in instant. You have to sacrifice a creature at an additional cost, but you get to draw 2 cards off of that. And there's 3 of those. Again, got mono black deck here, so not surprising to see some Doom Blades in here from the core set from M12, and that will destroy a target non-black creature. There's 2 of those. We've also got to go for the Throat from Mirrodin Besieged. 1 and a black. This will destroy a target non-artifact creature. And there's 3 of those. We have a Dismember. So this is 1 and 2 Phyrexian black mana. So we can pay that with either, each one of those can be paid with either black mana or 2 life. And this will basically target a creature and give it -5/-5 until end of turn. So that's going to be good for dealing with larger creatures. And there are 2 of those in there. We've got a Lash Writhe, which is 4 colourless, and it's a rare from New Phyrexia. It's a living weapon, so it comes into play with a germ token attached to it, or germ creature attached. And you can also obviously equip a creature with it. The useful thing about these living weapons is because they come attached to a germ creature token, you can use them straight away, but you can still equip them onto other creatures if you want to, and effectively what happens is, because the germ creature tokens are 0/0, it dies the moment you do that. So to equip, it's 2 Phyrexian mana, so again you can either pay that with black mana or 2 life for each of those Phyrexian mana, and that'll give an equip creature +1/+1 for each swamp you control. So that's going to, in a mono black deck, that's going to really pump that creature up. and there's not surprisingly 2 of those. So it's quite a high cost. It's 4 colourless to cast, and then 2 black if you're not going to pay for it with live to equip, if you want to sort of swap it off the germ token. So that's the main deck in there. And what I'm going to do at a later point is record another video where I just go through and look at various interactions in the deck, spread it out on the bench here, and just get you to have a look and see what's in here. So this is our sideboard. So we have an Appetite for Brain, so it's a sorcery from Avacyn, 1 black to cast, and interesting enough, it's another one of these cards where you can get to your opponent to reveal their hand. You choose a card from it with a converted mana cost 4 or greater and exile that card. So this is good against anything, any deck which is playing high cost mana. And there's 2 of those. We have a death mark in here which will destroy a green or white creature. So you got a bit of additional removal. In fact, there's 3 of those. We have another Despise, which is, as you saw, was in the main deck. So we can bump our Despise count up if we, particularly need to remove a creature threat from an opponent's hand, or we know that they're playing Planeswalkers. We've got a Surgical Extraction, which is a rare from New Phyrexia. Costs 1 Phyrexian mana to cast, and you can choose a target card in a graveyard other than a basic land card. Search its owner graveyard, hand and library for any number of cards with the same name as that card and exile them, and that player shuffles his or her library. Got a Crypt Keeper here. This just basically again bumps up the number we have in the main deck if we need to. If we need to start really disrupting an opponent that's doing a lot of graveyard based stuff. There's Distress in the sideboard. There's 2 of those, so that sort of complements and will bump up the hand disruption element of the deck if you need to do that. It's got a Triumph of Cruelty in here. This is an uncommon from Avacyn Restored. It's an enchantment, so it stays on the board. It's permanent. At the beginning of your upkeep, target opponent discards a card if you control the creature with the greatest power or tied for the greatest power. And there are 3 of those. So again, that will allow you to bump up your, the ability of the deck to start to utilise hand discard against your opponent. And then there's a Ghoul Raiser here as well in the sideboard, which obviously will again bump up the number in the main deck if you need to do that. So that will bump up your zombies, because if you remember, when it enters the battlefield, you can return a zombie card at random from your graveyard. So if you've got zombies in your graveyard that are going there a lot, then this is a good card to add into the number that you've already got in the deck. And that basically is the Death's Encroach deck. So as I've said, what I'll do is either sometime today or over the next couple of days, I'm going to lay this out on the bench here and just go through some of the interactions in the deck. Okay, thanks for watching.